What up, everybody? It's your boy Jouhzu. Check out my new room. Yeah, it's massive, isn't it? Much better than the smaller room. So, this room initially was $300 and I negotiated down to $200, and it's massive. I've got my own bathroom, I've got my own lounge and everything, right? And in this video, I'm gonna show you how I actually get what I want and convince people to want what I want, right? There's this old saying, it goes along the lines as negotiation is having people wanting your way, and I'm going to teach you how. Before this intro, give this video a like, and if you haven't already, subscribe. Come on, man. Some of you already know that I've been kicked out of my old flat, and that's because being caught filming my landlord negotiating prices. So initially the other room, the small room, was $220 and I negotiated it down to $150. And in this video I'm going to teach you the concept on how you get what you want. Like literally, it's really easy, but you just have to implement it. Number one, listen. A lot of times when you want to negotiate or you want to get something from somebody, people see it as lose-lose, when in reality it should be always a win-win. And the way you can make it a win-win is by actually listening to the other person and looking where he's coming from, right? Like, where is he coming from? For example, when I'm on sales, right, I always listen, and the person always says, oh, I can't buy this right now because I've got to kind of like talk to my wife about this, you know? And the objection itself might not be real. You can't really sell somebody on something when the objection is not real. So you gotta kind of like dig deeper. In that case, you wanna ask the guy, oh, what is it about your wife? Like, do you guys make decisions? Do you guys have a joint bank account? Yeah, we've got a joint bank account. What I would say in this scenario is, I'll kind of like provide a hypothetical scenario. I would say, so if your wife told you to get this damn thing, would you get it? I'm not sure, right? But why? I thought your wife would be the issue. What's the issue? It's like, yeah, I don't know whether it is for me. You know, it's kind of expensive. That's when you actually get behind the real reason why the person is reluctant to give you what you want. In this case, I want their money, right? So always make sure you dig deeper, you listen carefully, and you're okay with the silence. Let them talk as much as possible so you can actually get a picture, an idea of what they're actually looking for, you know? And once they tell you what they want, you just kind of like tailor your approach to basically what they are saying in a way, you know? And they will buy your product, they will kind of give you what you want, right? So when you negotiate, talk less, you know? Only say something meaningful. Only say something meaningful that elicits some response from the other person so you can actually negotiate even better. Number two, mirror the person. One simple way, and I cover it a lot, is one simple way on how to actually get somebody to talk more is mirror their last few words that they are saying, right? Especially, I always do it like when I'm talking to somebody and I'm not interested in what they're saying, then I kind of like repeat the last three words. They say, oh, yesterday I went to the beach and I met this dog. And I was like, oh, okay, met this dog, you know? And in that way, if you silence afterwards, right? Like the first point, if you're quiet afterwards, they will keep on talking and give you more intel to work with, right? You know, so when you negotiate, try and listen, but get them to talk as much as possible by repeating the last few phrases. You gotta try it, man, like with anybody, right? But the key thing is, be quiet afterwards. Don't add anything, because if you add something afterwards, then you kind of like risking misconstruing what they're saying, you know, and the effect won't be the same. So always first listen, be comfortable with the silence, and mirror what they're saying. The next thing is, you can't just mirror the person, otherwise they will kind of get the hint that you're kind of like taking the piss. You know, you don't want to like get them to kind of like get the hint of your pattern, right? So the second technique you want to use is labeling a person. This does two things. If you label a person, for example, with my landlord, at first he was really stern to like sell me this for $220, and I was like, his name was Carl. I always used the name in my pitches, right? It's like, look, Carl, like I'm new here, I don't really know you, and I haven't done anything to you but good. But it seems like you're really stern about your price and you're upset about something. And then he started opening up. He'd be like, oh, I'm sorry, I don't have no footage, because he made me delete my footage, right? I recorded him and he made me delete it, you know, and then kicked me out. So he's like, yeah, I've been going through some serious shit in the last weeks, man. I don't even have money to pay the rent and stuff. And I don't know, man. Like, everybody is like not paying on time. And, you know, he was kind of bringing stuff up. So I kind of like gathered intel by him kind of opening up. And I said, you know what, Carl? I'll tell you one thing. Make it cheaper for me and I'll give you this bulk cash in hand. This is like 2 months of advance, right? Make it cheaper and it'd be a win-win. You've got a bulk of cash available to you so that you can actually pay your bills. And at the same time, I get a good deal. This would be a win-win, right? And in this way, I kind of like drummed him down lower and lower in prices, right? But it all started with me labeling him, right? If you label somebody, it's kind of like they feel like if it's correct, they feel like they have to explain themselves and kind of like prove themselves to you in a way. And even if you're wrong with the label, they kind of like explain what they're feeling at that current moment, right? So you use the labeling. It can go from like, oh, you look very, you know, I always use that one as that, you look very carefree, you know, you're very open, you're very carefree, you don't care what people think about you. I always use that with girls, you know, if I want to have a one night stand, I always say, oh, you look very carefree, you seem like you go for what you want and you don't care what people think. You know, I use that all the time when I talk to girls and I want a one night stand. In that way, not only do I give them a compliment, and if they accept that compliment, they want to act upon it. You know, they want to all of a sudden start looking carefree, right? Because if I tell you right now, like, oh, you seem very friendly, then you will start acting more friendly towards me if you decide to accept the compliment. And people like compliments, so they will accept it. And second of all, what this will do is they will start talking about how they are so carefree. They will kind of like talk more about it and kind of like prove your point for you to actually proceed, right? And the last one, which is a bit of a manipulative one, but I don't care, it is, in the end, after you've gathered enough intel, retreat, you know? Point out the flaws in whatever you want, right? And say, pretend like, you know what? I changed my mind. I don't think I need it as much because this, that is wrong. In terms of my landlord, what I told him is like, look, there's a rat in the house. The internet is not working, right? The room is way too hot and way too small, right? And other people are also paying $200 while in my room I have to go around to actually get into the house. I have changed my mind, right? Initially, you kind of get them all invested in you by letting them talk, by listening, you know, mirroring them, labeling them. But in the end of the day, you just kind of like, even if you want it really badly, just like lean back and say, reverse it. Say, yeah, I don't think I want it anymore, right? And then I will tell you all the reasons why you need to buy this house or why you need to get this room, you know? Like, in terms of girls, it's very, 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 very common. If you all of a sudden, if they kind of like tell themselves all about you, and all of a sudden you kind of like lose interest in like, yeah, you stop texting it as often, you know, you don't do it as often, you know, like you show less interest kind of thing, because you know them, they feel like, oh, I've shut all my heart out to you, you know, like me now kind of thing, you know? And in this way, you get kind of like your reverse psychology, you know, and they'll be kind of like trying to give you reasons why you should get the product or why you should like them, why you should be into them, and then leverage it to kind of like dumb down the product even more. If you do all of those 4 tips, I promise you will never have a problem getting what you want. And I want to say one thing though, like negotiation and getting what you want is not just like across the table, it's in every single thing, right? It starts without actually the person saying it, right? A lot of times people expect the person to say, okay, let's negotiate now. No. Negotiation starts all the time with every interaction, right? In my book, I say, only negotiate if it's for something that you want, and it would be at the expense of the other person. So basically, if you're a bit more selfish, you know, or if you just like feel like your course is better, you know, kind of portray it in a light of a win-win, right? And always negotiate whenever you want something. Don't wait for the person to say, oh, we're negotiating right now, because it always starts all the time, Really, trust me. I hope this helps. Give it a like if you haven't already. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Come on, man. And look, there's a lot of people that watch my videos, but don't give it a, don't hit the notification bell. It's pointless, bro. Give it a notification bell, right? And I've started TikTok as well. I'm going to start TikTok. Same name, Jouhzu. You should follow me on TikTok. I'm going to put the link in the description below if there's a possibility. And yeah, man, I am out. I see you guys next week.